I'm Jay Neaston, and I'm back here with another video. Today we will be talking about Spider-Man Far From Home. I recently walked out of the theater and saw the movie with Trent Voss, my friend, and Zac Hoelscher. And today we're just going to give our thoughts on the movie, talk about it, what we like, what we didn't like, and do a little bit of some rankings. So where should we get started?
You want to walk through the movie, or do you want
Yeah, let's walk through the movie. So, Spider-Man Homecoming was the first solo movie of Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, much different than the other previous Spider-Man films. And were you guys impressed with that movie, or were you a little underwhelmed?
With Homecoming?
Yes.
When I first saw it, my first thought was this might be my favorite Marvel movie. And then I watched it a couple more times. Like, okay, well, I'm not gonna go that far. But I liked Homecoming a lot. I definitely think I like that better than the originals. I like that they were doing something different. I think Vulture is one of the top, at least 5 villains in the MCU, and I liked his storyline. I like that they didn't go back into the origin story for that one.
Yes, that was a major difference. And since he has so much ties to the other movies, they had to build upon that. So he's very connected to the Iron Man films, unlike some of the previous Spider-Man films. The reason I bring that up is because that was the introduction of Spider-Man, but it led us to Spider-Man Far From Home, which is arguably better, right?
Then Homecoming?
Yes. Is it an argument?
I mean, you could argue it. I don't know if I'd agree with it.
Anyways, so Spider-Man Far From Home, it's the second installment of the Spider-Man movies in the MCU. What did you guys think of that? Zach?
It was definitely a step up from Homecoming. The thing is, the villains seem pretty similar in their origin.
True.
They both want revenge against Tony Stark, who they portray as ruining their lives.
Yeah.
And so it kind of felt repetitive at that point. But otherwise, I liked how they introduced a new kind of Spider-Man villain instead of a repeat.
There have been lots of repeats.
Yeah.
I like that point you bring up because that's one of my problems with the film. Like, I understand he has strong ties to Iron Man and Tony Stark, but sometimes it got in the way of the plot of the actual Spider-Man movie. And obviously, both villains, really, the villains are trying to fight against Tony Stark from the dead, and Spider-Man's just kind of in between all this. I also liked Spider-Man Far From Home better because the action of Spider-Man, they actually showed more web swinging and stuff compared to the first one. The first one, it barely felt like a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, I think they were trying to, because a lot of times he wasn't even in a city. You saw him a lot in the suburbs, that one scene where he's running across the neighborhoods.
Right.
So yeah, this one showed a lot more action with him actually doing stuff. I also think that he's just kind of better at being a Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah, he's he's developed in the role. He's more comfortable in it almost. Yeah. And Peter Parker, I was a little bored sometimes with his personal life, of just Peter in Homecoming, because in the other Spider-Man films, I really enjoyed that part of just his daily life. But Far From Home, I almost liked the scenes with just him in the class on the trip abroad as much as just the fight battles against.
Far From Home was a lot funnier than Homecoming.
It was
a lot funnier. Yeah. I think Homecoming was almost more serious, even with the villain. You could tell there was more seriousness.
Right.
And then with this one, it was I think more into comedy. Even with Nick Fury, the beginning scene with the memoriam, even something like that was funny.
Yeah.
The blip that they had with the kids dying and then coming back.
I know, that was crazy. In the gymnasium, they're just fading away.
They played it for a joke instead of playing it for super serious. So
which is refreshing because Endgame was funny in its own right, but the whole blip they call it of Thanos snapping away half the universe, they had to address it, and I'm glad they just did it in a funny way. It's kind of neat.
And it seemed like Far From Home wasn't as it didn't have too much going on. They stayed on a particular set of things.
Yeah.
Homecoming, it felt like they were trying to introduce too much stuff. They were worried about Vulture and his motives against Tony Stark. And then Tony Stark and his relationship with Peter and how he's getting this new suit and how he's trying to be molded into a better Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then also his personal life and then his life as Spider-Man. So there was too much going on, I felt like, in Homecoming. Far From Home, admittedly stayed on the trip, which also was the only pretty personal life with him.
Yeah, and we said it. Jake Gyllenhaal's character Mysterio, he is tied to Tony Stark, but the conflicts are so much better in Far From Home, and they're more personal for Spider-Man because Mysterio actually developed a bond with Spider-Man that was broken, and I much enjoyed. Enjoyed that whole MJ Peter relationship and like him balancing that with the hero life. It was much more entertaining than him trying to live up to Tony Stark's expectations.
And the thing that I felt like that was missing a bit from Far From Home was like some down to earth things. Like I like how they kept it down to earth with the villain, but everything else, I don't know, from Homecoming, like how they were dealing out the weapons. There was all that. It was just like what seemed like a typical like day or night in Queens, New York.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like anything else. But now, like, yes, I know his role in Infinity War and Endgame, how it definitely got broader in like the different characters. But it just seemed like it wasn't as down to earth as Homecoming.
Yeah, or any of the previous Spider-Man films.
Yeah.
I mean, without the death of Uncle Ben being shown, that kind of just set the tone for it to be like more lighthearted, which I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I guess you could put Tony Stark in Uncle Ben's role, kind of.
True.
But yeah, I think like some of the things that they did in this one, like it was funny, but like the scenes with like the doors, like they used that a lot, like that same trope. With like he'd be doing something with Spider-Man, and then somebody would walk in, like when he's with the woman, when she's like, take off your clothes.
Yeah.
And the kid walks in.
You're right. That is a.
And then Nick Fury and him are talking,
motif.
and then
Yeah.
Ned's girlfriend's knocking on the door. The teachers are both at the door, and then you got when Spider-Man and MJ were talking, and then he's changing, and then Ned just walks in.
Oh yeah.
That could have been anybody.
True.
So I feel like I don't know. Sometimes they use it like a little lightly, like why wouldn't he ever lock the door, especially after it happened like 5 times.
Right. And that's like, you're right. That's like the only way they like utilize like someone like almost catching him as Peter Parker in Spider-Man. Like, there's no other close calls besides someone just walking through a door and seeing him there.
Yeah, they were all pretty funny, but it was just like, why is Peter so dumb? Like, just lock the door, or at least close the door. Like Ned just walked in and was wide open. I was like, well, what if that was the teacher?
Did you like Ned's character better in the first one or the second one?
He wasn't really. I liked him in both, but he didn't really have a big part in the second one.
No,
like,
it's just the first comic relief.
The first one, he was like the man in the chair and everything. The second one, he was just kind of, comic
for a
relief with
joke.
his girlfriend
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Played him for a joke, yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping that this is gonna get in the future, but if they keep developing him and Ned and Peter this way, like in the comics, because Ned was the Hobgoblin, if they're able to like at some point like wait on like not now like when they're adults, if Ned at some point becomes a villain, like that could be one of the most like
major
like him
mutations.
and Peter like fighting against each other after all this character development. That could be like one of the most developed villains ever.
Yeah.
Like you see like
I did not know he was a Hobgoblin in the comics.
yeah, like you see like the development with Iron Man over all these movies, and then he becomes like, well, what should be the greatest hero ever, even though they say it's Mysterio now. But like he could be maybe one of the greatest villains ever, just because you got him and Peter with this bond. I mean, I don't know if they're gonna do it, but like that would be cool to see him as a villain.
Was Ned in the comics? Was he like the big old Asian kid or?
No, I don't think so. That's why I said they might never do it. But that would be cool to see like these two best friends. Like you see him over these 2 movies, and obviously the third one. They're having a third one.
Mm-hmm.
But he like
Who do you think will be the villain in the third one?
Oh, I got that one down here. I don't know if they're gonna do it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the Sinister Six in some way. Because right now we're at what 5?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have the Vulture, Scorpion, Shocker, which I don't even know. They didn't even talk about Shocker at the end of the movie. They just kind of hit him in the bus, and then that was kind of that. And now you got Mysterio, who that's another thing I've written down. I don't think Mysterio's dead.
Really?
No.
Yeah, because that was how'd he die? It didn't make
It was
sense.
just the bullet wound
drone
from the
shot
drone.
him. And then I'm thinking like, because he asked Edith, which that acronym's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Even dead, I am the hero.
Yeah.
So I don't think Mysterio's dead because, like, when he asked Edith, whether or not there's any tricks, whether this is real, she says there's no, I don't know the exact word.
Illusions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She said something around that lines, and then, but Peter never like went up to him, like they showed on screen. So maybe he was just like lying there pretending to be dead,
Mm-hmm.
and he wasn't actually dead because he said he had the contingencies, which I guess one of his, I guess you could say co-workers could have put out, but like maybe he's the one that actually leaked that because he just like got up and walked away after. But
And he's a good character to keep around. I mean,
And they never, and in that recording, because how did they have that recording in the actual fight? They never, like, you couldn't hear him talking
and
at
the
all.
drones were.
And also, what is it? They never showed Peter's face. He only told him.
Mm-hmm.
He only said what happened. So that could have been an actor acting as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Also, and how did he have his Mysterio suit on in the recording? Because before he had like, how actors use the CGI, he had all that on.
It was all edited too. Like they had Peter admitting to like executing civilians, which
because
I think they're trying to talk about the fake news media nowadays.
Yeah, because Peter he had to say execute to execute the order of the drones, and then he twisted that to saying like execute them because he had to say execute them to talk to the drones, but Mysterio was saying like execute like people.
Yeah.
So then, but
It's all cropped.
yeah. So back to like the Sinister Six. I was saying like so that'd be 5, right? Mysterio, Shocker, Scorpion, Vulture, and then at some point you gotta add in Norman Osborn.
And then that's the sixth one. I would either say probably a Doc Ock.
Yeah.
I would say something like Rhino, but just the way that it went
How
on.
does he fight 6 people at once?
That's how the Sinister Six is great.
Yeah.
But, I think Norman Osborn is going to end up being a big part of the MCU going forward.
Oh, that'd be great.
Like everybody's speculating, like the Avengers Tower was bought. Is it the Baxter Building, Fantastic Four? Is it Oscorp? I think it's Oscorp. Like that would just make the most sense.
Yeah.
And then everybody's talking about we need a new Tony Stark figure. We need somebody that's somebody like Tony Stark. Norman Osborn, he's rich.
Well,
he's a powerful guy.
But it'll be a twist in Tony Stark because he's gonna seem good at first and then just become the worst.
Like kind of like there's I think it's called Dark Reign in the comics where it's sort of like that where like all the villains, they got like I don't know the exact storyline behind it, but it's like sort of along those lines where like Norman Osborn's a big figure, and then if he's able to like bring the Sinister Six together, which I still don't know what that sixth guy is. Well, there was the rumor that Dimitri was going to be the Chameleon, which I don't know what happened to Dimitri. He just kind of left in the middle of the movie.
Wait, was it Dimitri or Demetrius?
It was Dimitri.
Okay.
Well, he could also be.
He works for
Skrull.
Fury, right?
Huh?
Yeah, he could be a Skrull.
Yeah,
Wait, there's a rumor he'd be who?
the Chameleon from the comics, because the Chameleon's name is Dimitri in the comics, and nobody said anything about this character. I think it was just more of the soldier, like he was in the movie. So I don't know if he's.
That was the funny part when like Peter just wants to go on vacation, but then he goes. This like tour gets upgraded to a different like place, and then he comes outside, and the tour bus is just Dimitri. I'm like, oh yeah, he hijacked the vacation for sure.
But yeah, I think the next villain it's either gonna be Sinister Six or maybe just Norman Osborn. I don't know. Or maybe
I feel like they would need to introduce that because there is a rumor that possibly there's 9 MCU movies with Spider-Man.
The high school,
Yeah,
college.
high school,
high
college,
school,
and
3
then-
in college age, and 3 adult.
Yeah, so if you want to go with like Harry and Peter,
Meeting in college, maybe. Instead of
they
high
could
school.
meet in college, but all I know is that they would have to meet in some school type of area. And
Because I think it's probably at this point you can't really just put them in high school and say now they're best friends because you've already got Ned.
Right.
So maybe Peter goes to college and he meets Harry, and then that's how the connection to Norman gets.
but
maybe
Ned could also be killed off, and then
or that. Yeah. Which I wouldn't want that.
I definitely want.
I like that.
Like Spider-Man, he's a hero where you need to tell a lot of story, and it's cool to see him mature. So I do want them to make more than 3 films. 3 would definitely not be.
I think they're definitely gonna make more. It's just gonna be depending on Sony and Marvel, agreeing on that deal.
yeah, because I would like more references to other villains, like important characters that have been in either comics or previous installments of Spider-Man movies.
Spider-Man probably is the second best rogues gallery after, like, obviously Batman's number 1. Like, he's got all those iconic. I think Spider-Man's probably number 2. I mean, who else is even competing? Maybe like the Flash, maybe, probably not though.
Me and Zach were talking about earlier. For Norman Osborn, you could cast James Franco because he was a really good Harry Osborn, and in Spider-Man 3 definitely resembled his father from the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a casting call from Marvel about like I don't remember the exact call, but like people were saying, oh, that's the description of Norman Osborn or somebody like him. So maybe that, I don't know.
They don't actually list the name though.
No, they just say like for example, they say like a middle-aged male or something like that for a casting call.
Yeah.
But that'll be I'm hoping that I'm pretty sure they're going to, but I'm hoping that they introduce him soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe one of the next few, maybe if the 9 MCU Spider-Man movies, if that's true, maybe in college, in those trilogies, maybe mention Eddie Brock at some point. Maybe
well, I feel like Eddie Brock, he doesn't have a strong connection to him, so I feel like it would be cool to see Eddie Brock be in his high school or something.
Because they were also talking about Venom and Spider-Man crossing over from the Venom movie.
Yeah.
Which at this point, Kevin Feige said over and over, well, that's up to Sony. We're not going to do anything about it. So I'm thinking, if they ever cross over, it's going to be more like they're going to take Tom Holland's Spider-Man and put him in Venom. But it's not really going to be connected to the MCU still. Something along those. It's going to be weird because
that's not right.
because Venom's not part of the MCU. Yeah. But Sony wants their guy, Tom Holland, their biggest star in their movie, obviously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're going to figure that out somewhere.
So what did you think about J.K. Simmons' cameo as J. Jonah Jameson in the end?
That was great. I wasn't expecting it at all.
I don't think he's going to be a major character. They wouldn't... I think it's a cameo.
I think it'll be him. Well, yeah, I think it's going to be a cameo.
It's probably at least a cameo now, but I would like to see in future installments of this MCU.
But the post-credit scenes as a whole were... That surprised me that they had 2 post-credit scenes that were both,
major.
important.
Oh my gosh. If you didn't stay for those, you missed out on, the end of the movie.
I don't know what they're starting with the first one. When Mysterio first said his name is and it cut off, I was like, oh well, they're not gonna say it. And then he said it, I'm like, oh.
I know.
Well, now what are they?
What do you think's gonna happen in the third one when everyone knows?
That's so different from other Spider-Mans. It's gonna be weird to see everybody that's Spider-Man. That's Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he's still in school too.
What movie? That's never happened in a movie.
Mm-mm.
In the comics, isn't it Civil War comics where Peter reveals his identity?
Yeah. And then it's that leads to the whole Mephisto thing with Aunt May and then Mary Jane, where he has to make the deal with the devil basically, Mephisto.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So after people find out that he's Peter Parker Spider-Man, Aunt May eventually somebody's able to get to her, so he has to make a deal with Mephisto to get her back, but that causes him to lose his relationship with Mary Jane.
Right.
But Aunt May is, but I don't know, it's kind of...
that's the whole point of concealing his identity is protecting the people around him.
Yeah.
So they're definitely maybe in Spider-Man 3 for the MCU, maybe it'll be really dark.
That's what I was thinking. The Sinister Six, because you even see Scorpion ask Vulture, well, what's Spider-Man's identity? I got people on the outside that don't,
Oh yeah.
So we'll see what they do with that.
Right.
But I think the second was even better.
Second
post-credit scene. With Nick Fury.
Oh, right. Nick Fury's turned into a Skrull. I thought Nick Fury seemed a little off in the movie. So he's a little aggressive, Muhammad said.
I saw somebody point out that at the beginning, Maria Hill calls him Nick and not Fury.
Yeah.
And Captain Marvel, he's like, you have to call me Fury. Nobody calls me anything besides Fury.
Everybody calls me Fury. Not Nicholas, not Joseph, not Nick. Just Fury.
What does your mom call you?
I didn't notice that.
Did you notice his scar on his eye? It's more defined as a cat scratch. I'm pretty sure in the beginning it was just the eye patch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a little scar, but it wasn't like a cat scratch.
Yeah, the scar's getting bigger apparently.
But I liked how they brought back Talos and his wife. That was pretty interesting to me. Because when they first had the Skrulls, I was like, oh shoot, are those the bad Skrulls they've been talking about? Maybe they killed Nick Fury, but no, it's it's Talos. He's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
And then I was really surprised that they had Nick Fury in the base. So my first thought was, where is he? But then I was thinking more and more. I was like, oh, I saw a couple things online that it might be a sword base, which sword is just the space version of Shield in the comics.
Yeah, Muhammad said it might lead to Secret Wars.
Yeah, which I think Secret Wars are gonna be the next big thing. I hope it is. I don't know if it will be, but their next.
Is that between the Skrulls and the Avengers?
Secret Wars?
Yeah.
Secret Wars is more like multiverse.
Okay. I don't know. Multiverse to me seems like lazy storytelling. I can't stand it.
It's hard to explain the whole. Secret Wars is a huge Infinity that would have to be the next Infinity Saga. 3 phases leading up to that.
Oh my gosh, that'd be a lot.
But I think because in the comics, Sword is like I said, the space version of Shield. This might lead to them making either a new Avengers on Earth or a space Avengers. If they're making this Nova movie that everybody wants, him. They're introducing Adam Warlock in the next Guardians of the Galaxy, hopefully, as Guardians of the Galaxy.
Maybe Keanu Reeves will play him.
But I don't know. That should be interesting.
Do you guys have any last thoughts about Far From Home, specifically? I just really enjoyed the movie a lot.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen it twice in 3 days.
I used to love rewatching movies, but now it's getting after I see it once, I'm like, that's
Depends on
pretty
the
good for me. Okay, Zach brought up a good complaint, or criticism, when he said, this Spider-Man, they brought in Peter Parker, but they totally just, like, tossed out the window all the side characters that are traditional in the Spider-Man comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, it's in place of, like, Ned and some other characters, but there's no Harry Osborn, there's no Gwen Stacy, there's no Dr. Connors, there's no Norman Osborn right now.
Dr.
Technically, there's no Mary Jane.
Dr. Octavius.
we got
Dr. Octavius.
We got MJ. We don't have Mary Jane.
Yeah. It's Michelle, right? Her
Yeah,
name's Michelle.
Yeah, it's Michelle.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to do something different, Marvel.
You're
Because
right.
Spider-Man's been so like you had the Sam Raimi, and then you immediately had the Andrew Garfield, and
Sam Raimi.
it was basically the same exact thing. So then like, okay, we're gonna do something completely different, and like you think like, oh, they're gonna do different films, but no, we're doing something completely different.
Right.
Like Spider-Man is not gonna be the same Spider-Man. Everybody's gonna know who he is.
Hey, it's funny that they keep bringing up Star Wars in the Spider-Man movies, but Nick Fury's in the Spider-Man movies, so does that mean who plays Mace Windu in the MCU? I don't know. Maybe there's a multiverse.
What's his face?
I want Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire, old man Spider-Man. It could be made just like Logan.
Oh, have you heard the rumors about Into the Spider-Verse? There was a rumor that Sony's trying to, at some point, not like soon, like get like a live action Into the Spider-Verse movie and bring back the three main, like Holland, Garfield, Maguire.
Live action Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Already?
No, it's like down the road,
Oh, okay.
5 to 10 years
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the future, like not now. But there's a rumor about that. I don't know how true it is. The internet, but that'll be pretty interesting to see. The only problem is like Maguire's like 50 already, isn't he?
Oh yeah, pretty sure he's.
He'd have to be
Pretty
old.
darn
Old
He turned like 46, I think.
Yeah, like
Oh my
46,
gosh.
47.
7 years on the road. Like, oh, you got old man Spider-Man.
I
Yeah.
think he was
Old man
like
Spider-Man,
young.
definitely.
He was like young 20s, and
Yeah,
Maybe he could be like the Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse and help
Peter
Peter and then die.
and-
who
yeah.
who Jake Johnson was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker. One thing that threw me off in the movie, I'm like, why did he give him blonde hair in Into the Spider-Verse?
I think it was just to differentiate
Yeah.
between Peter B. and like the perfect Peter Parker and the other. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, the perfect Peter Parker. That's right. The one that died.
Yeah.
Was he the blonde one?
He was.
Yeah.
Okay. Last thing we're gonna do is do little Spider-Man rankings of all the Spider-Man movies so far
You wanna go first?
for fun. All right. Everyone cover their answers. The worst Spider-Man movie, and by the way, we're including Venom, Into the Spider-Verse, the 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the 2 Amazing Spider-Mans, and the 2 MCU Spider-Man movies. The worst Spider-Man movie, I said Venom. What'd you put?
For the worst, I got Spider-Man 3.
I have Amazing Spider-Man 2.
3 different answers. Wow. All right. We don't need to rationalize it much. It's just opinion, so I want to just keep moving on.
Yeah.
It's not too controversial. Number 8, I had The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Venom.
I had the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay, so obviously we all have Amazing Spider-Man 2 towards the bottom.
That movie was just. They could have been so good, but there were way too many plot lines.
Yeah, wow. And
Like,
I don't
I'll
know.
never forget the electro dubstep either. That was
What about It's My Birthday?
something else.
What did the elector say? It's my birthday.
I hope I don't remember.
Okay. Number 7, I have The Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Number 7, I have Venom.
Homecoming.
This is at...
Whoa.
Oh my
Whoa,
god.
Whoa. That hurts. That's very different than
I'm
mine.
not saying
That's
I'm
very
not
different.
saying my opinions were like I really hate this movie. It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
some of the movies I felt, in my opinion, like
You like more.
Yeah, that makes
I like
sense.
more.
'Cause they're all
or,
pretty
like,
good.
They're
Like,
really close.
I was just gonna say number 7 already. Number 8 and 9, I really don't like them that much. Number 7, that's when I start like liking all the movies. So it's just a matter of which ones I like more.
Yeah, I like 8, 9. So I like I'm different. I like Venom. I actually like Venom.
Yeah,
I thought Venom. It wasn't like.
I can stand it.
It wasn't good, but it wasn't horrible. To like the point where I could watch it and be like, this is okay.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.
Like they should have picked a tone. Like they got him eating people's heads off and then him joking around with Eddie in the next scene. It was
Weird.
weird, but amusing.
Okay. Number 6. Oh, I criticized Zach for keeping Homecoming so low, but number 6, I have Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh boy. I got The Amazing Spider-Man next. So
Wow.
I have Spider-Man 3.
I thought you liked Spider-Man 3.
I hate Spider-Man 3.
I love it. I love it so much. It's the
I
most
do.
quotable movie of all time.
Venom is so bad in that movie. I think the Sandman could have been a great villain, but they kind of undercut him, I feel like,
Yeah.
with Venom.
Just get rid of Topher Grace's Venom and you're good.
Well, yeah, I blame Sony on that one.
I mean, I've seen YouTube videos about this. Harry Osborn was built up as villain for 3 movies, but then they just like give him amnesia for half the movie.
Because Sam Raimi said that wasn't the movie he wanted to make. Sony forced him to put Venom in the movie.
Really?
Yeah. So, and he said over and over again like that.
If he had 2 hits to start out with, why would they force him to do anything? Give him free control.
Because they wanted something better, I think, is what they were thinking. But, yeah, too many villains. That would have been 3 if they had not given Harry amnesia. Would have been 3 against
2.5.
Harry.
No, 2.5 villains.
No, I'm saying
Because Harry was like,
get rid of Venom. Give Harry his memory back. No emo Peter Parker. I mean, because you didn't need to.
Well, I mean, yeah,
you didn't need to give him the
was-
symbiote to make him a jerk.
Well, yeah, he was selfish, and
Yeah,
then
selfish,
like
yeah.
the symbiote just increased it
It
more,
enhanced
and
it,
he
yeah.
was, and it was just like, it made him like even more cocky. and, like,
Anyways, I could talk about Spider-Man 3 all day.
yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah, I think we're on 5.
Sorry.
You go
Okay,
first.
yeah. Okay. Number 5. I have Into the Spider-Verse.
Ooh.
I know some people really like it, and I do.
I've got Spider-Man. Like Sam Raimi's original. Number
Oh,
5.
what?
I have Amazing Spider-Man, the first one.
Dang, you put Amazing Spider-Man high up there.
Well, because it gave a different take. There was more action. I felt like
Yeah,
there was better action.
They made it more serious.
Than,
Okay.
yes.
Like the Dark Knight.
Yeah,
My one
type.
problem with that movie is when he's hunting down Uncle Ben's killer, that's the worst like montage ever. It's like looking for the guy's
My main problem with
tattoo.
that movie is the lizard isn't interesting. Like, he's a okay villain. Like he's like a C tier villain where he's not horrible at all, but he's
Yeah.
not good at all. Like he's
Yeah.
just
Why was the lizard more like a turtle?
He looked
That
cool
too.
though.
it's just kind of like the
very
lizard. Just kind of I just didn't buy him as a villain that
Mm.
much.
Are we in number 4?
Yeah.
Number 4, I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie. I mean Spider-Man 3.
I've got
What?
I've got Spider-Man 2.
I have the
That's
first Spider-Man.
You don't like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, do you?
No, I don't like that.
Darn it.
I'm a Raimi.
Okay. We're moving on to top 3. Okay. Number 3. What is the 3rd best Spider-Man movie, Zach? Tell me what it is.
Far From Home.
Wow.
Far From Home. I got Far
Wow. You know what I put?
What?
Spider-Man 2. I really liked Far From Home. I don't know. Objectively, Spider-Man 2 might be better, but Far From Home is fresh in my mind. I enjoyed it. Because I got Far From Home at number 2. It's the 2nd best Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man 2, like there were just some scenes in there that were goofy. Like Doc Ock kind of looked kind of goofy, first of all. But
What, the actor?
no, like just like the,
In general.
just like I don't know, just I didn't really buy it on screen. Which I mean, it's an older movie. That's probably why.
Mhm.
But like that train scene, never bought it ever.
Why? Dude.
Like when the people like when they see him or whatever,
Mhm.
I never bought that scene. And I never bought really when he like lost his powers either. Like I didn't get that. Like because he's like
well, it was.
because he's emotionally stressed or whatever. Like
I mean, everyone was.
Do you like physical webbing? Like,
I like the web
Organic
shooters.
or
I like
web
the
shooters?
I like the web shooters.
the web shooters always, it's like an extra
Web
plot
shooters get
device
more of
where
a-
they can like
yeah.
destroy the web shooters and then there you go.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have Spider-Man Far From Home, and I went in the theater with low expectations, so I think that's why I liked it so much, because it did blow me away. Pretty impressive. That's my 2nd favorite Spider-Man movie ever. What are your guys'?
I have Into the Spider-Verse.
Me too. I'm pretty sure because I bought it when it first came out, and then I watched it a couple of times, and then it came back on Netflix, and I'm pretty sure I've watched it 3 times.
I've seen it once.
3 times since it's been out for like the 2 weeks on Netflix. Like that movie's so rewatchable. I love it.
The animation is really good. It won Best Animated Picture at the Oscars.
Well, because they did it like how they would do some comic books.
Mhm.
When they would do it like that, so they did all that. That's why it took like 4 years to do.
The movie, what? They were like talking about the movie for a long time. It feels like.
Okay, Trent, what's the best Spider-Man movie in your opinion?
I've got Homecoming, unlike you two.
I've got the original Spider-Man, so I thought can't beat the classic, the first one. And Zach, I see you have,
Spider-Man 2.
and you know, that is the consensus around the internet.
Yeah.
Everyone loves Spider-Man too.
I just think Homecoming. I've rewatched Homecoming a million times too. Like not lately, but because now if I want to watch Spider-Man, I'll kind of just go watch Infinity War, or go see Endgame or Far From Home in theaters. But I don't know, I love Homecoming. I love the Vulture. He's one of my top 4 villains, I think. Yeah,
Yeah.
4, 3, whatever. But yeah, I love that movie.
Maybe my rankings aren't exactly correct, but this is just kind of in the moment what I said. But Spider-Man, it just resonates with me. I love Norman Osborn as the Green Goblin. Some people think it's cheesy, but some of the dialogue is. But like the emotion in some parts, especially the end scene when he dies, I can't beat it, honestly. Just all the Raimi movies to me are really down to earth, like unlike some of the newer ones. So. I just like that side of Spider-Man when it takes itself too seriously, and I think it works. Yeah.
No, I'm pretty biased against the Spider-Man too. I mean, against the Raimi movies. I just don't like them. Probably because they're older. But
It's so weird because like I think they're really good. I think it's because I watch it from a young age, so like the effects to me are like
I'm just not a fan. I don't know.
What's up, Zach? Lay it on me.
I don't know, I'm just kind of a Raimi guy. And Spider-Man 2,
Sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Spider-Man 2, yeah, so, it just seemed like it did better than the first one. Like, the first one, like, I don't know, like, it's kind of like what Far From Home did to Homecoming. It took a, like, bigger step up.
And what The Amazing Spider-Man didn't do to that first.
Dear God, I hate that movie. This is Spider-Man.
It decided to jump off a cliff in that one. So,
And it had pizza time.
Pizza time, yes. But it just shows how experienced he was more. Just with like, I like the Green Goblin. Like that's probably one of his greatest villains. Like that, all that I like. But then, with like him dying, then like pretty much the second one, almost everyone around him like completely like takes a shit on him.
Yeah, that's what's awesome. Like he's not catching a break in that movie.
Yeah, he's having to miss class. He's like
he gets fired from his job.
Yeah, then rehired, but still got fired. Then he wasn't able to be with Mary Jane, who also said that she was starting to like him. And he said he rejected her to save her because
she married the astronaut.
Yeah, going to at least.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Yeah. So he doesn't have the girl of his dreams. His job is like on the brink, and just he's missing class. He's not getting everything else that he would like. And
you relate to that? No, not in a better way. I'm saying I'm trying to like add more depth to what you're saying, because like I think the reason everyone likes Spider-Man 2, like you said, Peter is kind of misfortunate. It's because that's real life, right?
And then
it's not like Homecoming where Peter gets everything handed to him by Tony Stark.
Well, I mean, then he takes it back.
True.
If you're nothing without the suit, you don't get the. Or what is it?
If you're nothing without the suit,
then you shouldn't have it.
Yeah. Good line.
It's a real
I was gonna say, Homecoming. Iron Man's my favorite Marvel superhero. I mean, besides Spider-Man, I just overall like Spider-Man, but I always like Iron Man in the MCU, except Iron Man in Spider-Man Homecoming. I just didn't like the character as much. It felt like
too much of a dad.
It didn't feel natural. Like Robert Downey Jr. It just felt like his performance was off.
Really, I liked it. I liked the relationship between those two every time they're on screen together. I liked I just like those two together. I know what you're saying though.
Yeah,
kind of different.
It did feel different.
Because a lot of times you see Tony as like, it's almost like Steve is like parenting Tony. Like like Tony, you can't do this. Tony, stop doing that. And then
with some of the lines, he's like, "Hi, Spider-Man." I remember that one when he picked him out of the water. He's like, weird
Oh,
stuff.
when he's like, Mr. Stark came to get me. He's like, nah.
That movie had Thor's belt on the airplane, but they never brought that up again.
At first, it was just like an Easter egg. 'Cause they never mentioned the belt before that. I'm like, how'd they get that?
Oh, did you guys, back to Far From Home for a minute, did you guys enjoy Happy's, like, really big role in Far From Home? Happy Hogan?
I thought they used him according. I thought they used him enough. Like, I don't think they overused him. I don't think they underused him.
And it was good that like he was sort of Peter's emotional backbone since Tony was pretty much the only father figure, which I do not agree on, because I prefer more like the Uncle Ben, because that's also like what gives him his motive to be Spider-Man, so that way he can fix his wrongdoing, which he feels guilty of him dying.
Yeah, it's almost like I feel bad for like Peter in the MCU. If you really like think about it, he's been like over like what 4 or 5 on father figures now, because you have his real father.
Yeah.
Uncle Ben, which you assume is because they have like the BFP in the suitcase or whatever.
Yeah.
Like Ben.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not around anymore. His real father obviously isn't around.
if
Tony is gone.
Yeah.
Then you get Jake Gyllenhaal, or
and he likes
Mysterio.
him a lot, yeah.
He's gone. So it's like Happy
Happy's
is the only one.
And Happy, he was best friends with Tony, so it's like
Yeah,
they can relate well together.
At first, I didn't even like him. So it's like
Happy?
Yeah, remember Homecoming?
Oh, you did.
I was like, kid, leave me alone, basically.
Oh yeah.
Crap. My backpack's gone.
It doesn't sound responsible.
I'll call you back.
Feel free not to.
And now, like,
Wow, I didn't even think about that.
Happy's like his own.
Because he was mainly trying to do his job, it felt
Yeah.
like, and then like now that Tony's gone, he's like left with nothing because he's pretty much Tony's chauffeur, best friend.
So, are we assuming that Tom Holland's Spider-Man went through the same thing as like the rest of the Peter Parkers?
Oh,
Like Uncle Ben got shot.
I don't know if he got shot or whatever, but I'm assuming that, because there's even a line where he's talking to Ned, I think, and he's like, everything that May's been through, so maybe it's like Ben died or whatever, Uncle Ben died or whatever, and then you got like, I think the suitcase is the main thing that Marvel trying to like stick that point that Ben was in the universe at some point, but I don't know if like the same exact thing happened. Maybe he even died before Peter was even with them, like when he was still with his other father, like his birth parents, so who knows.
The suit still wasn't improved. Sometimes the CGI in the suit is a little much. I just kind of want a more natural suit.
Which one? The
Far From Home and Homecoming, the suit.
the Iron Spider suit or like the real? Like
both, the real suit.
Really?
If you watch the Raimi trilogy, it's so old, but yet the suit looks just as good. It shouldn't be that way. But what the CGI I did like was when Mysterio was using the illusions and Spider-Man was fighting like the drones inside. It looked awesome.
I did not think they were gonna they've done that in like video games and cartoons. Yeah. I did not think they were gonna dive into that.
So
That was
cool.
So cool.
It looked like Into the Spider-Verse, but it was like live action.
Like
I enjoyed that.
Like
and I think they were trying to flex that they can really
do that now.
Do that, yeah.
Because I think it was like in like the recent games, like even like the new Spider-Man game, they did almost something like that. And I was like, that's awesome. It's a video game.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did that in the movie, just that was cool.
This movie could be a video game.
This movie
I didn't play.
Really cool.
I didn't play that video game all the way through yet.
I've only seen videos. I didn't buy it.
I don't know.
It came out at the same time as 2K.
Okay,
It was definitely not that bad.
you guys ready to wrap it up? Okay, thanks for talking to me. Talking with me today about this movie. Spider-Man. All the movies are pretty enjoyable, and it's good to talk
Except
about.
for some really amazing Spider-Man too.
Except for Venom.
Okay, chill.
Okay.
Venom's great.
So that's all we have for today. See you guys next time. Signing off.
Check out my one video.
Check out his one video. Scavenger for real.
Yeah, or no, what's the pointless reviews of YouTube?
We may or may not link it in the description.
I may or may not upload again.
This is an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan. That's how hardcore Marvel he is.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually good. Like, this season is lit.
I like being bad. It makes me happy.